Okay, so we're at 10:02 now, so we will get started. So good morning, everybody. My name is Amy McHugh. I am the Employee Relations Manager here at West Yorkshire Pension Fund. Thank you very much for joining us this morning for Pensions Awareness Week. This week, what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate our members about their pension scheme. So we are running a different webinar each day covering different topics of the scheme. So you can see on the slide there, that's our timetable for this week. So today we're going to be covering the LGPS fundamentals for those of you who joined the scheme post April 2014. So for those of you who joined when we became a care scheme. Later on in the week, we have a session which will go through your annual pension statement. So that's a really useful one to really understand that document. And then Thursday, we're going to be talking about increasing your benefits. So again, that's a really useful one for planning towards your retirement and possibly looking to pay extra in the scheme. Friday, we'll be talking about the fundamentals for deferred members. So some of you may have a deferred pension pot as well that you may want to hear a little bit more about. But as for today's session, we're going to be looking at the basics of the scheme. So Mark, my colleague, is going to take you through the presentation. So the presentation is going to take around 45 minutes. Loads of information during the presentation. So the chances are any questions that you do have that might pop up at the beginning of the presentation, it is likely that the question will be answered in some of the subsequent slides. There will be a little bit of time at the end for any questions. So what we would ask you to do is just pop your question in the chat box towards the end of the presentation, and we will pick up as many of those as we can at the end. We will be unable to answer any questions relating to your specific circumstances, but we do have some contact details on the presentation for our contact centre where you can call us. We can access your pension record and talk about your personal circumstances in a bit more detail. So that's it from me for now. So I'll hand you over to Mark, who will take you through the presentation this morning. Thank you very much.
Super, thanks for that, Amy. And hello, my name is Mark Morris, and I'm a member of the Pension Fund representative team here at West Yorkshire Pension Fund. So Amy's outlined some of the sessions that are coming later on in the week, and there'll also be a chance to see some of the slides on the website if you visit the event section of West Yorkshire Pension Fund's website. So the focus of today is for those who joined the scheme after the 31st of March 2014 and how all the benefits earned and are affected by the scheme from the 1st of April 2014 under the new care scheme. So as Amy said, if you've got any individual questions, the customer service centre are probably the best place to get those specific questions answered. The telephone number and email address for that contact will be shared at the end of the session. Okay, so the aims of today's session are to point out some of the key benefits of being in the pension scheme, including the elements above and beyond the target of generating the pension income you will access at the retirement age specific to you. I will explain how the LGPS pension works, how your pensions are calculated, how your pension builds up over time, and we will also illustrate how this can help you to plan for your retirement and ways that you can increase your pension benefits. During this presentation, I will introduce you to the My Pension portal, which is our online method of checking and reviewing your information about your pension in an extremely flexible way. And to repeat what I mentioned earlier, I will highlight where you can access more information or speak to a member of the service team at the end of the session. Before we start, it's worth explaining what West Yorkshire Pension Fund actually does and the basics of what we do. We are one of the 86 administrating authorities from across England and Wales that make up the local government pension scheme, often referred to as the LGPS. As you can see from the banner at the bottom of this slide, we also provide shared services to some of the other pension funds, including the Lincolnshire Pension Fund and the pension funds for the London boroughs of Hounslow and Barnet. On top of our local government clients, we also administer a number of firefighter pension schemes, and this brings the number of our total shared administration service partners to 25. Overall, we administer the pensions of over 400,000 members who are entitled to be in the pension scheme through 850 different employers. We do all of this with 112 dedicated staff who administer the pension fund, and a further 19 investment staff based in offices in the cities of Bradford and Lincoln. Okay, so over the next few slides, I'm going to touch on the benefits of being in the scheme. I'll go into more detail of how these benefit you as a member later in the presentation. But the key benefits include that you will have a secure pension, you'll receive tax relief on the contributions paid into the pension scheme, you can access a tax-free lump sum at retirement, there's ill health cover that offers protection in case you become unable to conduct gainful employment, and none of us are immortal, so the life cover the scheme offers allows for the peace of mind of knowing that your loved ones will be taken care of financially should the worst happen. There are also survivor pensions, and this is again another valuable benefit of being in the scheme. So if anything were to happen to you, there's the reassurance of knowing that your loved ones would be looked after by having some access to some income that would make their lives a little bit easier. So let's look at retirement. Provided you've been a member of a scheme for 2 years or more, you can access your benefits from the age of 55 right up to the age of 75. You do have to take your pension from the age of 75, and this is called age retirement, but you could continue working if you so wished. However, if you decided to take early retirement, which is any point before your state pension age, your pension benefits will be reduced. It's also expected that this minimum age is going to change from 55 to 57 in 2028. There are other types of retirement options in the scheme, which you are only allowable as part of your employer discretions, and these include flexible retirement from the age of 55 onwards. So that's where you can receive immediate payment of some or all of your pension benefits and continue working. And this can be achieved by either reducing your hours or reducing your grade with your employer's consent. Another employer-led option is redundancy or business efficiency. So if you are over 55 and your employer decides to restructure your organisation and you're included in that redundancy process, you can access your pension benefits straight away without any reductions. Your employer could also agree to that. Your employer could also agree that you are not capable of gainful employment and allow ill health retirement from any age. But this decision will be based on an opinion from the independent registered medical practitioner, and again, it's with your employer's agreement. So your pension is guaranteed, it's backed by law. It doesn't depend on investment returns like some private pensions, so there's no need to worry about how well the stock market and other investments have performed, particularly as you will have observed during the very recent past. There can be turbulence in the stock markets, but those types of fluctuation and events won't affect your pension. So the guarantee is that the pension you have built up is the pension you will be paid at retirement. It's inflation proofed, and that means it will keep its value in line with the cost of living. And again, I'm sure you'll have seen that the cost of living crisis has impacted everybody over the past few years. Of course, it's payable for the rest of your life. There are also tax incentives of saving for retirement, and they're a valuable addition to your contributions. So you are receiving tax relief on your contributions, which means you pay less in tax. Your contributions are taken at source by your payroll department. so you don't need to worry about managing your contributions. And I'll show you a practical example of how this area of tax works later in the presentation. So at retirement, you have the option to access a tax-free lump sum as part of your retirement benefits. Depending on the date you joined, if you have previous service in the scheme, you may already have an automatic tax-free lump sum. However, all members have the option to access a tax-free cash amount. And what this means is that you can convert some of your pension for a tax-free lump sum. As shown here, for every £1 of pension you give up at retirement, you'll get a £12 lump sum payment in return. Or put another way, for every £1,000 a year you reduce your pension by, the pension fund will offer you £12,000 as a tax-free lump sum. The maximum lump sum is set by HMRC, and that is up to 25% of the capital value of your accrued rights, but that will be illustrated on the annual pension statements we send you each year. So what happens if you become unwell? If you are no longer fit or able enough to carry on working, you have the ability to access ill health retirement. Ill health retirement is only allowable with your employer's consent and is subject to certain conditions. So what does this mean? It means if you qualify, you will be entitled to immediate payment of your pension. There are 3 levels of ill health retirement which are dependent on your inability to carry out your current role or undertake any other gainful employment. An independent registered medical practitioner would be required to assess your condition. Your employer will then use this information to make a decision and inform the pension fund of the outcome. Ultimately, this is your employer's decision to make, and where there are disagreements about the outcome, you have the right to appeal. The law allows the opportunity to challenge the employer's decision via the independent disputes resolution policy process. And there's plenty of information about this process on our website. So on to that life cover that I mentioned earlier. If unfortunately you were to die whilst being an active member of the scheme, a death grant lump sum is payable of 3 times your annual pensionable pay. And this is separate from any survivor's benefits that I'll mention on the next slide. This is an amount payable to a loved one of your choice, or you can elect to pay multiple nominees. And this could be a combination of your partner, your children, or even a charity. You can nominate for the lump sum to be split equally or at different percentages of your choice, and this can be decided by completing the expression of wish form that you'll receive from us in the welcome pack. You can also update your death grant nomination or expression of wish via the My Pension portal at any time. So if your circumstances change, you can change your nomination appropriately on the My Pension portal. I mentioned the survivor's pension on the previous slide, which are available. The survivors' pensions offer you the peace of mind to know that your family can enjoy financial security. There's a pension payable for a spouse, civil partner, or eligible cohabiting partner. And there's also a pension, a survivor's pension for eligible children, which you'll be entitled to receive as a payment for a limited amount of time in most cases. There's lots of information about this on our website, and I'd encourage you to take a look. Now we're going to take a look at who can join the LGPS scheme. You can join the pension scheme if you have a contract of 3 months or more, if you are under the age of 75 and are not eligible to join any other public sector pension scheme. So the teachers' pension scheme, universities and civil service have their own schemes, and if you're eligible to join those schemes, then you wouldn't be allowed or eligible to join West Yorkshire Pension Fund. Once you're contractually enrolled, a pension record is created for each role that you hold. and your pension record is linked to your employment record. So if you only have one role, you will hold one pension record. If you have more than one role, then you are going to have a pension record for each of those roles. So as an example, if you were a midday supervisor in a school and you were also a cleaning assistant, you'll have a pension record for each role. So it's worth bearing this in mind, just in case you wondered why you've got more than one pension record. Okay, so now you've joined the scheme, you may have previous pension rights from another source. So let's take a look at what you can do with those pensions from other providers now you're a member of the LGPS. If you have a pension elsewhere from previous employment, you can transfer it into the local government pension scheme if it meets certain criteria. A transfer in creates a larger amount of pension if it is fully completed within a year of joining the LGPS. And if you decided to delay the transfer outside of this 1 year time frame, your employer or your former pension scheme might not allow it at all later on. Your automatic right to transfer expires after the first year of employment, but you can still transfer after that time, but it is entirely at your employer's discretion in those circumstances. Our website shows this process broken down into 6 steps, starting with you contacting your previous pension providers to obtain a cash equivalent transfer value by sending them one of our template letters, which are available on our website. There's no obligation to proceed with the transfer once you have all the details, but it will allow you to make an informed choice. Any transfers over £30,000 must also be able to demonstrate that you have received independent financial advice before the transfer is completed. So you will pay a percentage rate based on your earnings as shown in this table. So for example, someone earning over, let's say, £29,000 through a combination of their core hours and non-contractual overtime would pay a rate of 6.5% of their income each month to remain an active member of the scheme. The 50-50 section rates you can see here as something I'll explain in a few minutes, but as you can see, the rates are halved. Your employer will assess the appropriate band for you at the start of the scheme year, and unlike the tax threshold bands, you do not slide through the rates as the year progresses. While you are paying into the scheme, your employer also pays a contribution each month, allowing you to access the scheme, and we'll look at how this amount is assessed in a later slide. So what does it actually cost to be in the pension scheme? If we look at someone who is not paying into the pension, if we look at someone who is not paying into the pension as a comparison, so in this example, the salary is £24,500. This equates to just over £2,000 a month gross salary. Paying a tax amount of £199 with a national insurance contributions of £119, which gives a net pay of £1,724. So if we look at someone who is paying into their pension scheme, again, just over £2,000 monthly salary, now paying £118 of contributions into the pension scheme, which is based upon the pay rates table we just looked at. This member is paying 5.8%. What you will see is that the tax is reduced. So this means you are receiving tax relief on your contributions to save for a pension. The national insurance stays the same, but the net pay is now £1,630. So this works out per month as a net cost of £94 per month overall, which in comparison to a non-member means you are building up a pension benefit for retirement in a tax efficient way. You are insuring for your future, it's saving for your future and your retirement, so you can live the life and afford the things you wish in retirement. So contributions cover the cost of providing your pension. And as I've said earlier, the employer also contributes to cover the cost of providing you with this pension. From the 1st of April 2014, the LGPS changed to a CARE scheme, which is Career Average Revalued Earnings Scheme. This means the pension builds up as an average of the pay that you receive throughout your career. The LGPS CARE scheme is a defined benefit scheme, which means benefits are calculated using a formula of a member's pay and the accrual rate. For each year you work, we look at how much pensionable earnings you've received and take that figure and divide that by 49, which is the accrual rate of the main scheme. The accrual rate is simply the rate at which your pension builds up. If you're in the 50-50 section of the CARE scheme, which I'll explain shortly, the accrual rate would be a 98th, not the 49th. And this would mean that your pension builds up to half the amount of pension that you would do in the main scheme. Each year, the annual pension that you have accrued is revalued in line with inflation, and this is based on the Consumer Price Index, which is commonly known as the CPI rate. Okay, so now I'll explain how your pension is calculated in the CARE scheme and how it builds up over a period of your membership. So the CARE scheme works by taking a portion of your cumulative pensionable pay, and this provides the amount of annual pension which builds up over time. Every year, the annual pension accrued by a member is revalued in line with inflation. So that, as I mentioned, is the Consumer Price Index. If we look at the bar chart graph on screen, the figure generated by dividing your salary at the end of the 31st of March by 49 becomes your year one opening balance. So in year two, we bring that amount into the pension account as well as to add the pension that would have been built up in year two, and inflation is again then added to it. So each year you will see that the pension build-up for you at your retirement is increasing. This illustrates the principle that for each year, inflation plus your pension savings increase and builds up pension as it is shown in your account each year. Here we have another example showing how your CARE pension builds up over a 3-year period. So here in year one, the total pension is £502.32, including the cost of living adjustments for that year. In year two, the total amount, including inflation, is £1,042.23. So each year compounds to create your pension at retirement. And as you can see here in year three, the total amount, including inflation, is £1,750.70. Okay, now I've mentioned the 50-50 option a couple of times today. This option was introduced as an alternative to opting out of the scheme completely, which was the only option previously. So what does that mean? It means you'll build up half the amount of pension compared to the main pension scheme. Your pension builds up at an accrual rate of 1/98. You pay half the contributions, and you can move back to the main section at any time. You will automatically be brought back into the main section following auto-enrolment anniversary dates or following any nil pay periods as a result of sickness, injury, or child-related leave. You'll still get the full benefit of ill health protection and life cover, which provides the assurance of knowing your loved ones would have that financial support. And I'll speak about that protection again at the end on a later slide. So let me explain with a few more examples of what this 50-50 option actually means. So here we have an example in this slide to compare the difference between the main scheme and the 50-50 scheme. and the effect on a member's pension build-up over their membership. If we take the example of someone earning £21,000 in pensionable pay, assuming the cost of living running at 2% with a pay increase of 2% and a membership in the scheme for 40 years of work, this graph, as you can see how the person in a 50-50 scheme builds up at half the amount in the light shaded area compared to the main scheme membership in the red shaded area. The red main section builds up almost £40,000, whereas in the 50-50 section in white, they build up half the pension, but paid half the contributions to gain a pension of just under £20,000. Again, the slide shows the pension build-up keeping pace with the cost of living over time. The example of a pint of milk shown here should be affordable both at the start of the career and at the point you receive your pension. It is worth noting the local government association has a scheme modeler which can be found online. Through this, you are able to make projections and see how joining the 50-50 section will impact your pension build-up. And this modeler only shows how your pension builds up in the LGPS from the 2014 point onwards. Okay, so time to look at your annual pension statement, which you'll receive from us via accessing the My Pension portal I mentioned earlier, and will be covered before the end of the presentation today. This is what your annual statement looks like. It has your care pension build-up and cost of living adjustments, and it confirms your total pension for that year. However, the most useful part of the statement are the projected forecast estimates over the page. If you are under 55, then you will get the full range of projections at age 55, 60 and 65 and your state pension age. However, if you are older than these points in time, the projections will be adjusted accordingly. You may get less projections on your statement. Each retirement point shows standard benefits for annual pension and lump sum. These figures also include any reductions that apply to your pension for drawing it earlier at the respective ages, and then also the maximum lump sum you could receive by giving up some of your pension. This provides the key information for you to assess and plan for your future retirement. So if after looking at your annual pension statement, you feel the main LGPS is not giving you the pension amount you desire for the future, then as you will see on the next slide, there are always ways to top up and pay extra for your pension needs and objectives. So in terms of paying extra, there are a few ways in which you can increase your pension benefits. AVCs, which stands for Additional Voluntary Contributions, allow you to pay extra contributions towards a pension pot of money. The amounts you determine are invested separately from your main scheme benefits in your chosen AVC investment plan. We work in partnership with AVC providers such as Prudential and Scottish Widows to provide you with this method of increasing your pension pot or creating a pension pot. So please refer to the Paying Extra section of our website to find out which AVC provider your pension fund partners with. As I said, we do provide services to a number of different pension funds. If you are a taxpayer, you will receive tax relief on any AVCs you make, any AVC payments that you make, and you may pay up to 100% of your pensionable salary into an AVC arrangement. Your AVC fund can be used to buy additional pension. This can be additional pension income through an annuity or may be taken as a tax-free cash lump sum at retirement. This last point means the pension conversion for lump sum we mentioned earlier to obtain a tax-free cash lump sum can be offset by this AVC pot subject to HMRC limits. And we will provide all of these options available to you with your AVC as part of your retirement pack. If you would like to set up an AVC, please visit our website for more information and links to the in-house providers that we utilise. So now we can look at APCs, which stands for Additional Pension Contributions. This option allows you to buy additional LGPS pension. You gain tax relief on the contributions, and you can pay extra contributions each month or via a lump sum. You can buy extra pension up to a maximum of £7,579. This limit is index linked and rises by CPI each year. One thing to note is that you can't buy extra pension via APCs if you are a member of the 50/50 scheme. If you are interested, you can get a quote. There is a link on our website and an APC calculator, which is accessed via the local government association website. And this will show you how the cost of buying the additional pension. To find out more details about either of these options, please have a look at our website. Okay, we are going to spend a little bit of time explaining the benefits of signing up to the My Pension portal. I've alluded to it a few times. For those of you who are not registered, I want to make you aware of this portal, which West Yorkshire Pension Fund finds highly useful for members, and I encourage you to make use of it for some very good reasons. The My Pension portal gives you access to the information about your pension and puts you in the driving seat to take ownership of your pension account. So from the online portal, you can view your membership details, update your contact details, update your Deaf Grant nomination, and view your documents, including your annual pension statement. And this will help you to manage your pension account more fully. When you are signed into the My Pension portal, it's designed to give you a snapshot of your pension. You can see there's a side menu of options which allow you to view your My Folder documents, such as your annual pension statement, and you can view pension payslips and P60s when you become a pensioner. You can double check the information we hold about you is accurate and correct, and contact us to make any corrections. A new function that is available is the online calculator. The online calculator will allow you to run your own pension estimates. So with this new function, you can run estimates for your pension at a variety of ages, starting with 55 as your retirement age, which is currently the earliest age based on the point you can access your pension benefits. It's quite straightforward. You simply input your date that you wish to retire, which has to be any age between 55 and 75, and then press submit. This will then move you to this page, which is asking for pay details. The most recent pay information we hold about you will be pre-populated. If you're happy with this figure, you can go ahead and press submit. However, if you want to provide different pay information, you can enter it here, but please make sure you include pounds and pence. If you're not sure which pay you should be using, there's more information about this on the guide on our website. So again, pressing submit at this stage will generate a retirement estimate. If you click on the show documents, your figures will be saved in the document section of the portal, so you can view and download the estimates again in the future. If the information you have submitted is correct, then the output document will also be correct. There's no limit to the number of estimates you can run via this new facility, so feel free to explore as many times as you wish. So if you have not signed up, you can do this very quick and easy as per the steps shown here. Simply click on the My Pension link on our website. An activation key will be emailed to you once you've gone through those processes. You've got an activation code that will be sent to you. And we have a video on our website that guides you through all of these steps to help you complete your registration. We think the My Pension portal is a good idea because it keeps you up to date. There's no need for you to store paper copies, so it's good for the environment. And all your information is in one place. It's in a one-stop shop. It's designed to be clear and accessible and supports your ability to learn more about your pension in a time that suits you. Would also like to make you aware of some of the additional online resources. Firstly, there's our West Yorkshire Pension Fund website, which is our own dedicated scheme channel with lots of specific detailed information and where you can register for the My Pension portal. There's also information here about the Retirement Living Standards website, so it will help you to plan for your future, and is provided by the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association. It pictures 3 levels of retirement models. So there's a minimum, moderate and comfortable model based on a basket of goods and services from food and drink to holidays. So it'll help you to plan against your future pension needs. And we also recommend the Money Helper website, which is useful and is provided by the Pensions and Savings Service, which in itself is sponsored by the DWP. And this has a wide range of financial information and is the home to the PensionWise service for advice and guidance. And you can also book personal consultation appointments. And finally, the LGPS members website is provided by the LGA. This has the national scheme resources available, and it includes calculators that I mentioned earlier, and it's the home of the pensions of the LGPS modelers that I mentioned earlier as well. And in terms of support that we can provide as West Yorkshire Pension Fund, if you have any specific scenarios you're struggling with or still require some assistance, then please do get in touch with our customer service team at our contact centre, who will be more than able to assist you with any questions. The details are displayed on this slide here. You can also contact them via email and the helpline that's shown here. And we have plenty of information again on our website. Planning ahead is the best way to approach most things in life, and the finances are no different. So I would also like to make you aware of some additional resources that are available via the pre-retirement courses that we run. Firstly, obviously, you can access these sessions via our West Yorkshire Pension Fund website, which is loaded with lots of detailed information for you to access. But we also have pre-retirement partners in the form of Affinity Connect, who deliver retirement planning sessions throughout the year. And you can book to attend one of these sessions again by visiting the pre-retirement page of our website. Okay, so some actions, and to recap on today's session, we've covered the ways that you can register for the My Pension portal and the options open to you once you have signed up for that service. We've talked about how you can check on the details we hold about you and how you can amend the nominations and expression of wish forms. We've talked about how you can create retirement estimates. We've walked through what your pension statement means and what the details shown actually mean for you and your loved ones. And I've shown you where you can find more details about the way your pension is calculated. So if you take one thing away from today's session, I hope it is that you really should make use of the My Pension portal so that you can monitor, review and take control of your pension. Bear with me. And that just leaves enough time to mention our disclaimer. The information I've shared with you today is based on our current understanding of the scheme rules, but should not be taken as an authoritative view of how the regulations may affect you. We recommend that you always seek independent financial advice, and the scheme does not accept any liability for decisions you make as a result of this presentation. And finally, if you have any questions about today's presentation, as Amy mentioned earlier, we may have some time available now. And yeah, I'll end there. Otherwise, thank you for attending and enjoy the rest of your day.